G'day YouTube, Max Wright here, and the big question, is Bitcoin ready to just take off? And I gotta tell you at the outset, my feeling is yes. Let's get into the charts and I'll show you what I'm seeing. Let's see if you are seeing the same thing. Before we do that, smash that like button and let me know, you think Bitcoin's about to explode, sideways, or go down? Let me know and let's see if you change your mind by the end of this video. So right here, let's look at a little bit of history, what's going on here. First of all, let me explain these 1, 2, 3, 4 trend lines I've got for you. So these little inner rails, these red inner rails here, you can see so far in this little trend, since just in December last year, Bitcoin has liked to stay in these rails, and then it overshoots up to where I've drawn the pink rail, comes back through, down to the green rail, and then works its way up, hangs out in the red rails for a little bit, climbs on up to near the pink rail, crashes back on through, right? So that seems to have been a little bit of a pattern that Bitcoin has been doing lately. Okay, let's check the movement out here. Bitcoin broke out of this bull flag right here. It shoots up to the red line. It comes back down to the bottom rail, this darker green line, right? And then it's a very, very nice run up with one small, that's not even a little thing here, but basically it's a straight run up from just about 32,000 all the way up to 57. So an 80% increase in Bitcoin following it breaks out of the bull flag, up to the red line, comes back down, hits the green line, bounces, and takes off. So let's see where we are now. We broke out of the bull flag. We went up to the red line. We came back down to the green line, and it's just turned around, reverse course, and gone up again. Of course, there are absolutely no guarantees about what could and cannot happen. It can turn around and lie down for sure. But so far, this pattern is playing out exactly the same way that this pattern played out. And we saw this so often. I'm on the 4-hour chart here. Let me kick back to the daily. I'll go back. There, we saw this. I've taken all the lines off now because I try and keep the charts a little pretty nice and clean. But we saw this over and over again in this leg. When Bitcoin was on this trajectory right here, doesn't look like it, but it was a very nice uptrend, right? When Bitcoin was in here, several times the pattern played out identical. There was a symmetrical triangle here, along with, I'll change this line. There was one there. There was that symmetrical triangle. I believe here was another symmetrical triangle. Let's zoom it up a little bit, be easier to see. Yep, there was that symmetrical triangle, and it just broke out of the symmetrical triangle, exploded up. Broke out of the symmetrical triangle and exploded up. That pattern repeated in the previous trend, right? So now, let's bring us into the future. Bitcoin's playing the bull flag game, this trend, not the symmetrical triangle trend. Okay, I can learn, I can follow along. Thank you, Bitcoin, for teaching me what you're doing. And I think there's some pretty serious arguments here to be made that we've bounced off here and gone north. So the question becomes, is this a good time to get in? Is this not a good time to get in? Look, I think the risk-reward ratio here is pretty good. Pretty good. For the investors, these are the people who are just not really using stop losses. They're just, I want to get into crypto. Is now a good time to get into crypto? Is now a good time to get into Bitcoin? I would suggest the risk-reward ratio right now is yes. You know, all the disclaimers, I'm not your financial advisor, etc. But I think it's a pretty good risk reward. We have bounced off this trend, and if this fractal plays out, we are up for a very, very nice increase in Bitcoin right here if that plays out. Now, if it doesn't play out, we can go down. I would suggest we've got a little bit of support here, and I think we'd find support around here as well at the top of here, right? For the traders, we do have this nice green trend line. Now, the green trend line is a little bit questionable, to be fair. Let's kick back to the 4-hour. Let's see how many points of contact on the green we have. We have, on the 4-hour chart, 1, 2, 3, and that's all. What actually gives the majority of the credence to the green trend line is actually the fact that it's parallel to all of these trend lines. And I have never heard a trader, I've never seen this. I don't know if it's a thing. For me, what I see, parallel lines are really, really huge. So this is amateur hour over here. I'm not a professional trader. I've never had anyone teach me anything about parallel lines, but I see them all the time. And maybe that's because your eyes naturally find them. But I think parallel lines are quite huge. I've got 3 points of contact on this parallel line. I've got, God knows, like 7 or 8 on these 2 red lines. I've got like 7 or 8 lines of points of contact. And on the pink, that's the weakest of all. Probably just the 1 and the 2, and maybe the 3. So these aren't the strongest trend lines in the world, but I still think that there's something to this. There's something to this. So if, and quite nicely, as you recall, I put out the video here on this breakout. I said I got in on this position. I said it was extremely likely we would head up, come back down. And to be fair, I did say it would confirm support on this green line coming out of the bull flag. Because down here, when it confirmed support on this green line, it simultaneously bounced off of this green line. So we actually had a bounce off of these 2 lines. Whereas this time around, we bounced off this line only. So, but I think this is playing out very, very similar, and it just would not surprise me at all. Plus, I've got this nice trend line here. I could put a stop loss in for the traders speaking to now. I could put a stop loss in if it breaks down below this trend line, and I would actually go below this in case it was a double bottom. So I'd probably put my stop loss here, something like that. So let's call that 42,000. Let's call it 41.8. I would put the stop loss here and come in here, and with my target projection, same as I've used on previous videos, I would still use the breakout from the bull flag to say my breakout is expecting somewhere up around the $74,000 mark. Okay. Well, you know, we do have. I mean, check out this move. So we've got, you know, from this breakout to here. If it plays out again, we're talking 77% increase. Let's see from the breakout right here. Let's go 77%. See, that argument is saying we're headed up. I've run out of room. Did we get back in there? Yeah, I mean, it's going to be north of 80,000 using that measurement. So that's interesting. So why? I'm not quite sure why they would be different. Because this green line is measured as the vertical height from the breakout to there. They should be identical. Let me take this pole. Let me see. From there to the length of the pole. That's confusing. I don't know why when I put this pole here, because that pole was measured from the top to this point here, which is even longer than where I just measured. Let's give me some more room so I can do this properly next time. Measuring from the breakout as a percentage, to be fair, this is different. This is saying 78%. Measuring from this breakout up, here we only get 63%. And I'm not sure why that would be different. Unless the line just a linear, straight up, it's just linear. I actually thought that line extended in a different kind of a way. I actually thought that the line was not linear, that the line actually, as I dragged it up, expanded and it was a percentage. But it looks as though the line is linear. So it's just the amount of dollars that Bitcoin went up. It went up the same amount. But if you look at it as a percentage-wise, the percentage increase from this breakout, you get a different number. You get a number closer to the 80,000. I'm going to speed. I mean, this is a really nice profit here if we can capture all of this. So I'm going to keep my take profit here at 74. So I just learned a little something then. I thought this line was a percentage increase and it expanded, but it does not. It's a linear thing. So anyway, hope that all makes sense. So now the question becomes, okay, if you subscribe to this, and by the way, I know professional traders will tell you this is not, you're not buying bouncing off of this trend line. Most traders are not. You're looking for a breakout. This is when it broke off this trend line, that was a really nice breakout and a really good buying opportunity, even though we predicted that it might come up, come down, retest, and take off. This, generally, they say you don't get into a trade just because it stayed inside a pattern. You're waiting for confirmation of it breaking out. If it broke out, you might be tempted to short it. But I think there's extenuating circumstances here. Again, I'm not a professional trader. This is just what I do. I see what is happening here. I think the upside is really juicy, really exciting. I got a couple of reasons. I got this green trend line plus this bottom. Where I say if it goes down and makes a lower low, well, now I think I'm in a different pattern here. I've got this downtrend, I've got this lower high, and if I come down lower and make a lower high, I'm saying I'm in a little mini downtrend, and I'm going to cut my losses and walk away from these trades. Okay, but I think it's perfectly reasonable to get in here, even though it's not technically correct by the professional standards measures, but at least from what I understand. I think it's a really good time to get in right now because the reward is really sexy. The risk, I think, is relatively minimum. And we are in the middle of an epic, epic, epic bull run. And so whenever I can jump in at the bottom of a channel that it's in, I love it. Let's look, we're on the 4 hour. Let's kick over to the dailies and look at our RSIs. We got our RSI at kind of the bottom trend. Look, and let's look at some trends in here. We got RSIs climbing. I love it. Yeah, we got higher low, higher low, higher low. I'm really excited by this in the RSI. We're at the bottom of the channel here in the money flow. And we have just had on the stochastic RSI, we've just had, well, it's actually crossed back under. Interesting. Interesting. The stochastic RSI has crossed back under, but I like this turnaround. Now we've crossed back under. That's a little bit bearish. So, yeah, especially for the longer term plays, like I'm not, and this, it'll take a little while. It could take like a month or two to play out. Let's go back to the price chart. Let's see how long this played out. So from here to here, from here to here, that was 23 days. Okay, that's still relatively short to medium term, 23 days. That breakout right there, that time span there from this breakout to its peak. But in the world of Bitcoin, for me, that's the way I see it. That's still pretty long term. It's not a short term thing because Bitcoin moves so fast. It can do amazing things in 23 days. Here it went up 80% in 23 days. So this is not your mama's stock. This thing is volatile. This thing moves. It moves fast, and so a lot can happen in 23 days. And it just wouldn't surprise me at all if in the next 3 weeks we rocketed up here and smashed through $60,000 and then $70,000. All right, so now the question becomes, you guys know I use the Bitcoin chart very often, but sometimes if I'm looking for bigger gains, I'm very tempted to go into altcoins. So let's go and jump across to Bitcoin dominance and see what's happening. And we can see right here, it's still in this symmetrical triangle. But you can see it's hugging this lower part of the symmetrical triangle. That's this red and this blue line. And what that to me is saying is it really, really, really wants to break through and continue altcoin season. That would be the Bitcoin dominance breaking down if we broke down below this red line. So now we go and check out some of our favorite alts. We got Ethereum down. We've got everything down. Dash. We've got ADA is up 3%, but it's down a lot. It's actually bouncing back. It just had a big drop. We'll come back to that in a second. And we've got Link down, and we've got DOT down a lot too. Let's check out DOT. Okay, we got this DOT pattern here. I like the fact that on the, it's heading down towards this trend line. So I'm interested. It's already down 8% today, and it was down a good chunk yesterday. So I kind of like the fact that DOT is down. Let's check out ADA. And ADA is one I really like to get in on ADA. I think it's a good coin long term. And this is interesting. ADA broke down below this trend line, but it turned down. And it came, by the way, it had a big fall. So ADA went from $1.48 all the way down to, that's not the tool I wanted. $1.48 all the way down 30% over here to $1.04. All right, so ADA went down 30% at a time when Bitcoin did nothing. So that's really interesting. It also broke this trend line, which makes me a little more fearful of ADA. If it broke that trend line, it could be just coming up for confirming this what was support. Now it's confirming it as resistance, and it could turn down and lay down. So I'm a little bit hesitant, even though I really do want to get in on ADA. And it is so, like I said, it's come down a lot. I love the fact it's come down a lot. I don't love the fact that it came down past this trend line. There's probably another trend line that could be drawn here though, which is actually a really nice trend line. You can see, look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, 7, 8 days, and now 9 days. So there's an argument that we got, it's bounced off this support line and going. So that's given me a little bit of heart with ADA, Cardano, of course. Let's go and look at ETH, because I think just separate from charting, separate from technical analysis, I think Ethereum has come back a lot. It's been kind of still or backwards, and yeah. So look at this nice trend line here. You know, we had a huge resistance around here, and I might have got that one a little high, around this $1,400 mark with 1, 2, 3, 4. It finally broke through. It turned around, came down, has confirmed support, and I wouldn't be surprised if Ethereum is ready to take off. I know Ethereum's got a big upgrade. The developers are saying they've got an upgrade coming out in April. Okay, so we are just 30 days away, or not even, pardon me, from that. I think it's like early April, April 4th. And I would expect that kind of thing to be front run. And so Ethereum coming down 4% today. If it again holds this line as support, I think I might jump in some more on Ethereum. Dash, I'm a little bit not too worried about Dash, and I did want to check out Link. Let me see Link. So it's come down. Looks like confirming support on this line. Maybe Link's looking good. So you know, there's plenty of options here. We've got a really nice red day on a lot of these alts except for ADA, but ADA just had some really bad, nasty red days and came down 30%. So it's okay that it's. I'll let it post one little green day here. Maybe that's the sign that we are bouncing off of that trend line right here. So we got some really good alt purchases. So maybe the safer bet is I'm probably going for Bitcoin. But there is some really nice opportunities in alts. I'm probably going to do a little sprinkling right across the board and take a few different positions there, because I think Ethereum's been really struggling compared to everything else. If you look at, let's go and look at the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. And you can see Ethereum is way down. So, you know, it was up here at 0.046. We are all the way down here at 0.03. So that is down 30%. And we are near the bottom of this channel. So again, there's a lot of reasons why Ethereum might turn around here at the bottom of this channel and light it up and head north. And if I can see that happening with a lot of the altcoins. So if Bitcoin takes off, what I think probably Bitcoin will lead it just by a short amount of time, a day or two. And if the altcoins come through with momentum, we could see Bitcoin dominance here crash through this line. And then we could just see, with that resistance shattered, we could see a really, really big move for these alts. So, sorry guys, I know I'm just thinking out loud here. So, you know, I do all these videos in one take. You're just getting raw me. I'm thinking out loud. And these are all the things I'm thinking, which I think you guys learn a lot from, because you actually see the thought processes that are taking place, for better or worse. And like I said, I'm an amateur trader. I've made the vast majority of my money investing, not trading. So I'm learning as I go. And I hope you guys are learning from me, learning all the mistakes I'm making, all the things I'm thinking, and things like that. I'd much rather you learn with my money than with yours. So I hope this is productive. So let me know, what do you think? Let's have a little competition here. What do you think is going to be the best performer? Is it going to be Bitcoin? Is it going to be Ethereum? Is it going to be DOT? Is it going to be Cardano? Is it going to be Link? What is going to be the best performer? And are we about to head north across the board or south across the board? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button, that like button, do all the wonderful things. And please do me a favor, if you find value in this, just share one of these videos somewhere. Oh, you know what? I got a little bit of housekeeping to do too. I got an idea here. I made a video about all the scammers in the comments, and it's infuriating, and all of the crypto channels were all frustrated by it. And I think there's one way and one way to do this only. Rather than deleting all of the scammers, I think we need to crowdsource educating people that there are scammers. So on this channel, I'm not going to delete any more scammy comments. But what I would love for you to do, and I'll do it, and if we do it as a community, I think we're just going to smash it. Because I'll give you what happened. I know, speaking to one of the other influencers in a chat room, he said that he spent an hour deleting all of them. Within an hour, they were all back. Like the bots just, it's a losing game. The bots are just there. So there's no point deleting them. I'm going to not delete them anymore. What I would like you to do, what I'm going to do, and what I would love everyone to do is reply to the scammy comments, the fake accounts that claim they're Contrarian dude, but they're not really. Reply to them and say, this is a fake account, ignore him. All right? Just do that, and I think very soon that everyone will be educated that there's all these fake scammy accounts, and that way people are educating. If you just delete them, when one of them comes back, then no one's learned, and a new person in just is like, oh, that's probably Contrarian dude. I'll send him my Bitcoin. So just don't delete. We're not going to delete them. I would love for you guys to reply to them and educate people. Just couple quick words. This is a fake account. Don't fall for it. Done. And then I think we're going to save a lot more people and educate newbies quickly as they get into the space. Let me know if you think that's a good idea. If you happen to see a scammy comment, please go ahead and do that. Okay, guys, that's all. Take care, and I will see you soon. Bye.